Hello everyone, Ian Whillock aka Anger Red from Whillock Racing and Development here. Thank you all for clicking on my video. Just wanted to show you guys some footage of a recent qualifying session in which I got pole position and then later won. This is my first time doing one of these, so please give me your feedback if you have any. I'm always looking to improve my form. I will be doing these video reviews more often, and I'm willing to review any footage you guys send me. So please reach out to me and I'll be glad to review your footage and see if I can get you any thousands, hundreds, tens, seconds or whatever is required to help you accomplish your goals or win a few races. But enough of that, let's get straight into the action. As I'm exiting the pits, I always check to see if it's safe and then immediately start warming up my tires. These rental kart tires are pretty hard in compound, so they require quite a bit of energy to get into them to get them up to operating temperature. At this point in time, as this is the first time I'm driving this kart, my mind is working like a supercomputer, trying to gather as much data as possible as to the handling characteristics of the kart. As you can see, I'm complaining about it, and I can already tell that this kart has a major handling imbalance, probably due to a slightly bent chassis or bent steering column. So I can feel that it's pulling to the left slightly. I could cry about it, but I can't go back into the pits and change the kart, so it's up to me to be able to make this kart work. What I try to do on these opening few laps is to experiment as much as possible and figure out a way to try to make this thing drive fast, or fast enough so that I can make it into the diamond class. As I come down onto the start-finish straight, I'm already indicating that this kart is not a very good one, especially with the handling imbalance, so I'm going to struggle to get a good result for this. Getting my driver's excuses out the way first. Driver in front makes a mistake, so Chavez dives down the inside of him. I want to follow Chavez because I know he's a quick driver, so I tried my best to get past this driver as quickly as possible. That was a little bit of a dive bomb, but you have to be aggressive even in qualifying because you do not want to get held up at any point in time, especially when you're building up speed. As I'm coming into Gain City, I'm going to brake extremely late here in order to get energy into the brakes and into the tires. But that was way too late there, and if that was in a race, definitely would have lost some positions. But I have to have a short memory and shrug it off, because if not, the drivers in front of me will get away and I will lose the slipstream or be held up by them at the critical laps. At this point in time, I see the driver in front of me makes a mistake, and yet I'm not able to close the distance, so I'm thinking my kart might be down on horsepower. And this is going to be a long, difficult qualifying session to be able to get a time out of this. As we approach Unusual Corner, this is a very tricky corner to get correct because theoretically it's flat out, but when the tires are cold or when the track is not so good, we will struggle to take it flat out. So you have to carry as much speed through there as much as possible, yet at the same time not compromise your exit into Pico Corner. As we go by slower traffic, I can see a train is starting to form. These drivers all seem to be going at probably the same rate. I get a good exit out of Gen Power and I'm on the tail of Lucas Keith. I try to pull out of his slipstream, but I do not have the top end speed. He's faster than me on the straight, so I have to pull back in and then try to lunge him here. However, it doesn't work, and thankfully he makes a mistake in Tilka Corner and I'm able to get by him. I tell him to let me by because fighting at this point in time in qualifying is counterintuitive to setting a fast lap time. I was telling myself that these last few laps have been a little bit scruffy and I need to really get my head on straight and drive to the kart, not what I want the kart to be. That means identifying what the kart symptoms are and what the driving mistakes I am making, and then correcting them in time for me to set a fast lap. You can see here in the exit of Pico, I'm really struggling, so I'm going to have to overslow in the middle of the corner to be able to get the kart to rotate. And again, the kart is refusing to rotate how I want it to. So I realized that I have to drive it down a little bit in order to get the kart to turn in where I want to, and so I don't compromise my acceleration out of the corner. Massive understeer out of Gain City. Again, I'm driving too hot into the corner and it's severely compromising my exit. But it seems I'm lucky here because everybody seems to be struggling with their karts as well. So again, everything is relative. So I need to quickly make the corrections and hopefully set a time faster than everybody else. Tires have started to warm up a bit, so the grip should be better for this lap, but I still have to clean up my entries, and focus on getting a good exit out the corner. Compromise my entry a little bit over here so that I can get a very good exit, which is much faster than the Kart 21 in front of me. So now I'm in prime position to overtake him, which I do on a little bit aggressive move, but just missed Dylan by an inch. But you know, it's good enough to get the pass done. Dylan in front of me is one of the best drivers in Asia. He just recently won the senior championship here in Singapore Rock Cup, so I know that he'll be a very difficult person to get past. And to be honest, I don't mind staying behind him if he's quicker, but it seems like his kart is quite heavily compromised and my kart is quite significantly faster. So I'm going to see if I can get by him quickly and then maybe work with him so I can give him a good draft. So I'm following him in his slipstream, and I'm going to see if he gets a good exit here, but he does get a good exit, so I'm going to use his draft and hopefully get a good lap time, which I believe I do. I go to the top of the board by quite some margin at this point, but I don't mind staying behind him, especially if he's not holding me up. I can see that he's struggling on exits, on understeer, so I think at about this time I decide, like, look, I need to get by him. So I dive down the inside and give him the signal. We need to work together. I'll try to give him some slipstream, so hopefully, even though his kart's not the best, he can hopefully pick up a few tenths, which may be enough to get him into diamond or further up the grid. We're teammates in race karts and we know each other very well, and it's always good to race against the fastest drivers. I'm again struggling on the exit against City, and I'm going to struggle on exit again at Tilka Corner. The kart really is difficult to drive, so I know I'm running out of time now, so I only have 2, maybe 3 laps left, and I have to get all the conditions correct. So I've started this lap in a perfect place. There are 2 karts in front of me, both of whom are reasonably quick, so I have good slipstream and I need to make this lap count right now. However, they are fighting, so I may catch them faster than I want to, but I can't focus on that now. I just have to do the best lap I can, and hopefully they don't hold me up too much. But they're starting to squabble quite hard, and I'm about to get my lap ruined here. So what was potentially a good lap gets ruined. The driver apologized, it's okay, but the situation now is critical as I am severely running out of laps, and as the track gets better and more grip gets put onto the circuit, theoretically everybody should go faster. So even my previously good lap, which put me at the top of the timesheets, may not be good enough for me to keep pole position. Driver in Kart 28 outbrakes himself and gives him a very bad exit, which allows me to outdrag him onto the straight. My timing was a little bit fortunate because I was still in range of Chavesh's slipstream ahead of me, and now I'm going to try to utilize that slipstream to get as much time as possible. At KF1, usually the slipstream is not that important as there's very little headwind and the straights are very short, but in a qualifying session where every 10 counts, I'm hoping that even with a little bit of slipstream, it should give me 1 or 2 tenths. It can be a difference between qualifying on pole or qualifying 5th or lower. I remember really focusing on my braking, especially in the Gain City. I'm braking very early and I'm really waiting to get on the throttle here because, again, the kart still does not want to turn in. So I delay my throttle by a little bit and it gives me the exit which I so desired. My exit out of Tilka is decent, so I open up the corners, slicing the left and mounting the right, and braking early and getting a nice, clean, smooth throttle onto the main straight. Remember, it's very vital that you get a good exit onto the straights because that's where the most time is gained or lost. I managed to glimpse that I have indeed moved to the top with a gap of about 4 tenths. With me having caught Chavesh now, it's going to be very difficult for me to improve on that time, but I'm still going to try. You never know, something may happen. He very kindly points me by and I'll make a clean overtake. Now I'm going to go try to give him slipstream as well, which hopefully will give him another 2 or 3 tenths here and there, which may move him up the grid. But time is critical now. I know I have maybe this lap and maybe one more, with this lap already compromised from earlier. it all comes down to the last lap. The cart's still struggling to turn in at Gain City. I tried heavier braking there, but it didn't seem to help me with any rotation. So I have to try my best just to drive smooth now, and maybe I get one more shot. But I'm catching this driver very quickly, and I don't think that I'm going to be able to improve. This is why timing your qualifying laps is extremely important. If I had been compromised on one of my fast laps by a driver like this, I would not have been able to get the timing. So it's extremely important that you be aggressive, carve out the space, get a slipstream, warm up your tires, get the kart ready to go, and then nail your fast lap. Because if you don't, if you get blocked or your tires are not ready, you make mistakes, you lose precious tenths, which will be the difference between you getting pole position and being further down the grid, or even missing out on the cut and being eliminated. I get a clean exit out of Gen Power, and now it's in the run down to the Gain City. I tried to brake a little bit earlier again, but still the kart just does not want to turn in, giving me a lot of understeer. So I know this lap is a wash, but I still try to drive as smoothly as possible in order to practice my entries and exits, so that I can put it to muscle memory and see whatever data that I can get, which can help me later in the race. But I can see the checkered flag waving up ahead, so once I cross this, qualifying is over. But I noticed that there are no karts ahead of me and there are no karts behind me, so I still keep my pace up and focus and see whether I can still gather any more data. I try to experiment a little bit more. I try to experiment with the latest throttle here at Pico to see whether the line is smoother. It feels quite smooth, so at least with this kart. So I've downloaded that and committed it to memory, so that's something later I may try out in the race. So usually I wouldn't recommend doing this, especially if everybody's slowing down around you. If they are slowing down around you, please slow down immediately, but it's only because that there are no other karts around me. So I use this time and this opportunity to still run a relatively fast lap in order to see whether I can still find any more advantage going into the race. But as I approach the pit lane, I put my hand up, slow down to the pit lane speed limit, cool down the kart, cool down the driver, make sure you don't hit anyone, and be as safe as possible. And that's the end of the qualifying session. I qualified first and then later on won the race, which was a very chaotic race in the rain, but there will be another video. If you like this content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you.